Hello and good day to you. Today's video, we are demonstrating the use of the Eclipse Studio Paint text tool in designing an Eclipse typography greeting card. Open the software. On the menu tab, click on File, New. A window appears. Use of work is illustration. File name, I'm going to type the file name here. You can do that later on when you want to save your work. So I typed Typography Eclipse greeting card. Unit of measurement is in inches. The width 8 inches and the height 8 inches. Resolution is 300 because I'm going to print. And that's the minimum print quality for what I need it for. Basic expression color is in color. If you want it in gray, you can do that, or monochrome. Paper color, I'm using white. If you want a different color, you can just click into the color and select the color you want. And when you're through, you click OK. If you're happy with the information, you click OK. For this card, I'm going to bring a pattern that I've already designed. I've opened it before, so I'm just going to look for it. Just splashed ink on the work surface. I did it in another software. Splashed ink to create it. It's for it's a fabric. I want this card to coordinate the fabric. So I'll say edit, copy, and I'll come in here and say edit, paste. I can close that. Select the text tool and click on the background. The text will be created on a new layer and it's going to be vector. That will be created on a vector layer. Cap lock on. I'm just going to write the word best. Okay. Best wishes or things. Let me say best wishes. And now. So if you see, I've written the word, you are special. Just going to arrange it before I start altering the text. Select the text. Click on this pen icon here. A window appears. And in the color, it's still black. We'll need black for it. The font, you can change the font to whatever font you desire. So I'm just going to look for nice font. No, that's not. Like that. Okay, I'll go for this one, Casper Heavy SF, and you can increase the size as you desire here. You can also increase the size when you finished. So I'll just close this first. And let's see our work surface. I'll just drag the letter to increase the size here too, and put it the way I want it to be. I want it very large on the work surface. And with the operation tool, with the sub tool selected as object, I'm going to move it to the position that I want the text to be. Now we have our text here. Just want to make sure it has a nice equal distance. If you want to measure, you can also go to view grid, and you can use the grid in lining your text. So go back and remove the grid. On the layer palette, duplicate the text 2 times more so that we have 3 layers of text. The second text, I'm just going to close the visibility of this first. I'm just going to close the visibility of the first text. The second text, I'm going to select it, or the second layer text or text layer. I'm going to select it, click into its editing tool. The color will change it to white, and then we'll click OK. Then I'll close it. Optional, the first text, you don't really need it for, you don't need to change the color, but I prefer to change the color just for demonstration purpose, so that I can refer to it as I speak. So I just change the color of that to the raspberry purple or pinkish purple. So here we have 3 layers of text. For the first layer, to get the effect of the Eclipse card, we'll duplicate the background, the pattern background, duplicate it, and bring it over all the design. Then make it invisible. Select the purple text, or the pinkish purple or raspberry colored text. Activate the layer, then select the auto select tool. If you take a look at the text, you find out that some texts have enclosed design. You have to select the enclosed design first, then you select the background of the text. Take a look at this A. It's an enclosed design, so you come in and select all the enclosed design. The R has an enclosed design, the P, and the O. I think the O has. So we've selected the enclosed design. Then click on the background, and you find out that the selection is on the background too. So the edge of the background is selected and the text is selected too. If you don't select the enclosed design, your text is going to look like it's just going to be a block of letter, color block. Activate the pattern layer that we close the visibility on, and open the visibility of that pattern layer. Then press delete on the keyboard. Because the background is selected, we want to delete the background. So when we press delete, the background is going to delete, and the pattern will fill in the text. If we close the main background, the original background design, we'll see our text. our pattern text. Click on select and click on deselect. Select the operation tool, and in the subtool of the operation tool, the operation subtool, select object. Activate the background layer that you closed the visibility of before. That's the original background layer, and to be as if your text is not visible. Activate the white colored text layer. This time we will need the keyboard, the arrow key on our keyboard to move. We're going to move to the left. We are going to move upward and to the right for the white layer. So using the keyboard, I'm going to move 3 steps upward. 1, 2, 3. And if you notice, you can see a white line around the text, and it's popping from the background. And to the right, I'll move 3. 1, 2, 3. Activate the black text layer. This time we'll move to the left and downward, because when we're working on the white layer, we move upward and to the right. We want shadows. You can move any step you want to until you've derived the effect you want the text to have. So to the left, I'm going to move 4 I'm going to move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And to the bottom, I'm going to move 4. Or southwards, I'm going to move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Taking a look at our image, I'm just going to, you can see the text coming out of the image like a secret message, but it's no more secret, you can still read it. So this is what we call Eclipse card in handmade greeting card making. In handmade greeting card, I already have a video on that. I think it's on 12 crafts of card making, the technique of typography. We did the handmade, we did digital design, and using photographic image to create it. In handmade greeting card, I'll just talk over it. I'll just talk through it. In handmade greeting card, we'll cut the letters from different solid color card, and then we layer the pattern over the solid color and just move it to a little to the left and a little to the right, as we did here, but we'll do it manually to create this effect, and we'll layer it over the card. You don't need to resize the background. You want the background and the text to be of the same scale of pattern. That's why we didn't resize the background of this design. To further design our card, I'm going to create a new layer below the pattern layer. So add a new layer. 2 palettes, select the figure tool, and the sub tool, we're going to take a rectangle. And in the tool property, the rectangle will be in fill. You can create it in line, you can create it in fill, it all depends. I'm just going to select just fill. To create my rectangle, I'll need the grid to help me in scaling into the size I want it to be. So I'll go to View, Grid. In the layer palette, the rectangle, which color should I fill it? Okay, I'm just going to start at one corner Okay, let me use the color first. Let me take a nice color. So I'll use this raspberry. Since it's very pronounced, I'll use the raspberry purple, or if you call it lipstick purple or pinkish purple. And I'll just drag from, I'll close this pattern first, the visibility of the pattern, and I'll just drag from one end to the other end. I'll create a new layer, and this time I'll fill this layer with white. So in the color palette, I'll select white. The same setting, select the figure 2. We're going to draw a rectangle. You have to create your rectangles in new layer. On a new layer. And I'll move the rectangle, this white rectangle. I just need a little border so that it helps in to create a nice border in design in the card, so that the card is not that flat. I want to give it some nice design around the edge, nice border. So this pattern layer, I will activate it, and I'll create a new layer above it. Take the figure 2 again, and I'm going to come into the grid. I'm going to create a rectangle there. This rectangle will be used to resize this pattern. If I just scale the pattern, it's going to make the pattern and text not going to scale with it, and I don't want that kind of effect. I want the pattern and the background pattern and the text pattern to be of the same scale. So creating this rectangle, I'm going to use this new rectangle I created, this one on top now. I'm going to use it to delete the background of the pattern design. So activate the pattern design, select the auto tool, so select auto select tool and click on the background of this white. If you notice, you can see the selection around the borders here. That's the border we're going to delete for the pattern. Activate the pattern layer and press delete. Then this rectangle that we created to use as a template to delete the pattern, to delete border for the pattern, we're going to make it invisible. Go to select and deselect. Now we have a nice border around our card. And if you go to view and uncheck the grid, you're going to see a very nice design. So this is the Eclipse card. We have to save our work. You can save for this one. We're going to save first in Clip Studio format, then we'll save it in JPEG format because we're going to print it. So go to File, Save As. So I'm going to save it as Clip Studio format and just click Save. You can save it in PSD so that you can open it in other software and you'll be able to use it in other software. You open it in other software and it will be in layer form. So go to save. Let me save it again as PSD. So I'll go to PSD and save it so that I can open it in other software. So just click on save. and I'll say it's a layer or layer information not compatible with this format is contained. I'll say yes. That's because of the text. The text is still in vector, so I'll say yes. Then I'll go to File, Export Single Layer, and export it as a JPEG. Then I can save it. Then I'll say Save. Here you can see resize it. If you want to use it for web, you can resize it, or you can resize it as you desire. So resize you can resize the file size. But I'll leave it at 100 and I'll click OK. If you want to resize your image, just go to Edit, Image Resolution. You can resize the if you want to use it for web, you can resize it here. The image 72 for web, or 96 or 100, and after you save it, you can come back, resize it to 300 and save it for your print. So thanks for joining me for this video of using the text tool in Eclipse Studio Paint to create an Eclipse, a Typography Eclipse greeting card. Until next time, happy crafting, happy designing. Bye for now.